For the next 48 hours, I'll be traveling to every single Hong Kong MTR station. But before we start, I need to tell you a few rules. Number 1, I'm not allowed to use any transportation other than the MTR to get to another station except if the MTR map specifies them as being connected. 2, I have to take a photo at every MTR station, showing the Cantonese and English name of the station as proof. 3, I will not be going to Airport, Asia World Expo, and Racecourse, as I will not be counting Airport Express as the MTR because it has completely separate fees and so cannot be a direct transfer from the Chung line. Racecourse is also only available on race days, so I won't be counting that either for consistency purposes. Number 4, this is not a rule, but I just wanted to say this is not my original idea, and there are a lot of other creators doing a similar challenge. With all that out of the way, let's begin the challenge. So I'll be starting the challenge in Central Station, and we're going to first head in the direction of Kennedy Town on the Island Line, also passing by, sorry if I butcher these names, Shungwon, Saingpun, HKU, and Kennedy Town. Okay, so once we reach the end of a line, we're supposed to get off and go on another train, head in the opposite direction and not stay in the train. So, I stayed in the train not knowing about this, and the MTR driver kind of told us to get out in Cantonese, and I don't speak Cantonese, and it was very confusing. So eventually I just realized to get out. Yeah. So now we're going to head in the direction of Taiwan to finish off the Island Line. There are a few stations that I will be skipping taking photos of, as I will pass them again later. For now, this only includes Admiralty and Quarry Bay. So now, we're going to be taking photos at Wan Chai, Causeway Bay, Tin Hau, Fortress Hill, North Point, Tai Ku, Sai Wan Ho, Shao Kei Wan, Heng Fa Chuen, and Chai Wan. So Chai Wan is actually our first outdoor station. We'll be seeing a lot more later, but now let's go back to Quarry Bay so they can interchange to the Tseung Kwan O line. Okay, so now that we're on the Tseung Kwan O line, we will be experiencing a split in the line. From Tseung Kwan O, your train could go either to Hanghao and Polam or Lohas Park. In our case, our train first went in the direction of Polam, so we are skipping to Konglung and Tseung Kwan O for later. Then, we took photos of Yaotong, Hanghao, Polam, Tseung Kwan O, Lohas Park, and Konglung. So now that we have made it all the way from Central to Konglung, it was about 1 in the afternoon, so we decided to take a break to eat lunch at everyone's favorite fast food restaurant. Funny story, when we went there, the cashier's English skills were not that good, so I asked for my order to be a meal, but she misheard it as milk. So for the first time in my life, I was drinking milk at McDonald's. After we finished, we continued our journey as we interchanged into the Kwun Tong line. So first we passed by Lam Tin, Kwun Tong, and Ngao Ta Kok. But one thing that me and my family could just not stop thinking about is I'm Indonesian, and in Indonesian, nggak tahu kok means I don't know. And so everyone was saying, hey, I went to I don't know. And okay, I should stop yapping. So after that we went to Colon Bay. And before we continue, I would just like to say the following 2 stations are my 2 top favorite stations simply because of their signposts, Choi Hung and Diamond Hill. While you probably have seen some other stations have solid colors or simple artworks as their signposts, Choi Hung is a rainbow, and Diamond Hill has diamonds. These are mostly because their names, as Choi Hung in Cantonese means rainbow in English, and how Diamond Hill is, well, Diamond Hill. But from here, we transfer from the Kwun Tong line to the Tuen Ma line. Fun fact, it used to be called the Ma On Shan line until it merged with the Rest Line and it turned into the Tuen line. And this part is probably the one that took the longest in my opinion. Not only were there 11 stations we had to cover here, only 2 had interchanges, and they were both near the start of this area. That meant that I had to go all the way from Diamond Hill to Wukaisha, go all the way back, and continue the Tunma line until Homantin. That is probably the most boring and time-consuming part of all this. And get this, the trains here were crowded too. Apparently, over 20,000 people live in Wukaisha, so that sort of makes sense, but after that, it was only smooth sailing. So here's the photos. We have Hin Keng, Tai Wai, Chekung Temple, Sha Tin Wai, City 1, Shek Mun, Tai Shui Hang, Hang On, Ma On Shan, and Wukaisha. Then I continued the line in the other direction where we got photos of Kai Tak, Sung Wang Toi, Tokwa Wan, and Homantin. And once I reached Homantin, I transferred to the Kwun Tong line yet again to finish all the stations from Whampoa to Wong Tai Sin. Okay, so from here we went to Whampoa, Yamate, Mongkok, Prince Edward, Shek Kip Mei, Kolon Tong, Lok Fu, Wong Tai Sin, and then returned to Kolon Tong, where I interchanged to the East Rail line to get back and finish the South Island line. But in the way, we also finished Mongkok East, Hung Hom, Exhibition Center, and finally Admiralty. And since it was only 5 stations and South Island line, we decided that to finish off day 1, we would go to the stations of Ocean Park, my favorite theme park, Wong Chu Kang, Lei Tum, and South Horizons. After this, it was nearly 5 in the evening, so I just decided to rest for the day and continue tomorrow. But before we continue, I would just like to say, if you are enjoying the video and want to see more content like this, please hit subscribe and like, turn on all notifications, or if you want to, maybe even like the video. It's all up to you and it supports me. Thank you, and let's continue. So today, I'll be starting in Hong Kong Station and not Central Station. This is allowed because the map shows a paid area between 2 stations. First, we will be going on the Tung Chung line, and in the process, we will get photos of Hong Kong, Kowloon, Olympic, and Nam Chong. I'll be skipping Light King as I will use it later to transfer to the Sun Wan line. So let's continue to Sing Yi, Tung Chung, Sunny Bay, and let's interchange to the Disneyland Resort line. Now before we continue, I would just like to show how special this Disneyland Resort station is. Now I've been here many times before, but I know some of you viewers may have not before, so I'll just tell you everything special about this place. First of all, it has a completely different special looking train. It has all sorts of things like Disney characters, fuzzy seats, pictures of Walt Disney, Mickey shaped handrails, Mickey shaped windows, you name it. I was just thinking about how they built all this special just for the Disney line. It's crazy. Anyway, here's some photos of Disneyland because why not? So now we shall continue as we head to Lai King for a quick interchange. So from Lai King on the Sun Wan line, we're going to be passing by Kwai Fong, Kwai Hing, Tai Wo Hao, and Sun Wan. So we decided to take a break here to eat some KFC and continued on as usual. Interestingly enough, the exit list of the Sun Wan station states that there is a paid area between Sun Wan and Sun Wan West, while the complete MTR map does not show any sign of this. I think it should be adopted to the map personally. So from here, we're going to go on the Sun Wan line back to Mei Fu, where we're going to interchange to the western part of the Tuen Ma line, and we'll finish that whole northwestern area, which consists of Sun Wan West, Kam Sheng Road, Yuan Long, Long Ping, Tin Shui Wai, Siu Hong, and Tuen Mun. From here, we continued in the other direction so that we could finish Austin and East Sim Sa Sui. This would mean that we would complete the entirety of the Tuen Ma line, which to me just felt crazy considering this one line was 27 stations long. Here's the photos of Austin and East Sim Sa Sui. Now, from East Sim Sa Sui, we used the unpaid area to walk to Sim Sa Sui station to finish off the Sun Wan line. And the stations that we are going to be finishing consist of Simsha Sui, Jordan, Shamshui Po, Chung Wan, and Lai Chi Kok. And the final detour, we went to Prince Edward Station to transfer to the Kwun Tong line to get to Kowloon Tong, so we could transfer into the East Rail line for our final 9 stations. These final 9 stations are Sha Tin, Fo Tan, Tai Po Market, Tai Wo, Fan Ling, Lo U, Shung Shui, Lok Ma Chau, and University. Around this time, I was pretty stressed. Why? Well, if you search online, you can find out that the Lo U and Lok Ma Chau stations are in Hong Kong's closed area, and getting through those stations into Shenzhen requires a closed area permit. I think this is because exiting the Lo U or Lok Ma Chau stations leads directly to Chinese immigration and effectively acts as a boarding crossing station. But I only came there to take a photo of that sign, and I never entered immigration nor exited the stations. So for all the Hong Kongers watching, if you know anything about this law and if my actions were not supposed to be permitted, I dearly apologize. I was not aware of these rules beforehand, and so was never informed that what I did might not be legal. Either way, I only had one final station to think about, and that was the Sha Tin Racecourse. At the time I was filming this, which was the 18th of December 2024, there was actually a race happening that day, meaning theoretically, I could actually get to the racecourse station. I decided to ask the worker at the customer service counter when the next train to the racecourse was. This was more than a 30-minute wait. So I decided these 95 stations were enough, and that I would not go to racecourse. I returned and finished 95 out of 98 stations. Until I went back home. See, I'm no Hong Konger, nor do I live in Hong Kong. So when I returned back home from the airport, I managed to get a quick photo at the airport station to get 96 stations. And so the final station of them all was the airport. Finally, this whole challenge was over. There is one last person I would like to thank for all this, and that is my dad. He was with me in this whole challenge. He was the one taking all the photos and all the media, and I can't thank him enough for coming with me for those past 2 days and not complaining a bit. And with all that said, thank you for watching. Feel free to take this idea or attempt your own take on this challenge. I also want to thank you, viewer, for not clicking off and watching this far. Thank you, and see you next time.